Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He didn't even call after that, after I told them.
Okay.
Anyway, good morning, Bhatt, and good morning, Padmashri.
Morning.
Good morning, Vilas. Morning, Lata. Morning, Padma.
Good morning, Vilas.
Morning.
Good morning, Lata. Good morning, Bhatt.
Okay, so let's start our discussion on that, where we had left. So 33rd verse, taking that robot into consideration, let's say, and if that robot has a sattvic way of looking at things, that means it doesn't have differentiation between itself and others, then what happens here is that it will check all the five senses all the time and looks at whether anything is going out as an energy stream into any of the sense object. Meaning to say, when the sight comes on the eyesight, that being, or let us say that robot, will shun that, meaning it will not get associated with it, it will not enjoy it. And if it doesn't enjoy it, is not going to suffer. The basic reason for suffering is that we enjoy through the eyes. So when the eyes enjoy, the mind is enjoying it, because eyes cannot enjoy without mind. And now when the mind enjoys, it wants that enjoyment, but it goes away. If that person standing in the front goes away, then there is a real problem, because you want it back. Let's say a good looking person is there, can be a brother or a sister or a whatever the relationship we have set, but actually it's just an object. There is no person as a brother or a sister or a wife or a husband or daughter or whatever combination thereof, but just an object. So when the object is removed from the screen, you want it back, because you cannot stay without it. So this shloka says that the firmness, there should be a firm action to restrain the mind from the prana going outside through the sense object. So the sight will make the prana go out. So you have to block the prana from going out. So any identification removes the prana. So if I were to identify masala dosa, the prana is gone. If I were to identify something as a wife, then the prana is gone. If I identify something as a mother, then the prana is gone. Like that, everything. So that is sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, and thoughts. All the six of them have to be stopped. And he should be in yoga. Yoga means samatva. That means he doesn't like anything, nor he dislikes anything. Okay, that was covered in the second chapter. So we have to go back to that. And what is samatva? Is one na dveshti na kankshati. That means he doesn't hate, nor he lingers on that. Oh, it was so nice. Let us say I eat a masala dosa and I felt, wow, what a taste it was. I think I need to have more of it or less of it or whatever it is. Then the prana is already gone. So we lose prana all the time. The idea is not to lose the prana. So avyabhicharini is, I think we had covered it earlier also. It is something to do with this prostitution. So we are prostitute of 5 plus 1 sense, that is 6 senses. So either I am a prostitute of sight, because I want to keep on enjoying different sights. It's like sleeping with different women. And sound, taste, touch, smell, and thoughts. So this dhriti, that fortitude which stops the prana from moving out, is sattvic. So 3 things it should have. One is the consciousness is able to restrain the mind from going forward and enjoying the senses. Second is unswavering mind, which removes the that sticky nature, the raga. The sticky nature is not there. And third one is that person is in samatva. Neither he likes nor he dislikes. So this is the fortitude of sattvic. Then we come to the rajasic. So now here what happens is the person is attached. First attachment is to his dharma, and that is the worst attachment to have. Okay, because it burdens and it creates an ego sense. So let's say I am from this Brahminical background and I'm attached to that. I don't stop doing it. In fact, I keep on increasing it more and more because I feel that Vedas are very good. Then I say Upanishad is very good. Then I say that is very good. This is very good. So all that dharma, I attach to it. And unfortunately, people get associated with dharma, artha, kama. And they say that has to be done. So there was one doctor to whom I used to go for, we used to go for that acupressure teaching and all that. And he used to always say, look, there is no exemption. You need to do dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So I wanted to tell him that please read Bhagvadgita 18 chapter 34 verse. You are not supposed to do that. So what is being done has to be removed at this stage for liberation, because what we are doing is the normal course of consciousness, which is wrong. We had to do an altered state of consciousness, which is right. So that means whatever we have learned so far from parents, from society, from temples, from church or from mosque, from whatever places they belong to, whatever religion, whatever tradition, whatever scientific or unscientific, whatever innovation, whatever has been done has to be shut down right here, right now. Because we have realized that that is not going to lead to anything except for rebirth. So all those activities which give rebirth has to be removed. So he holds on to it, and then prasangena phala akankshi. So there comes the problem. Why we expect fruit of action? Let's say I want to utter Gayatri mantra. There is a reason why I would love to do it, is because it gives me peace of mind. So my peace of mind is attached to the Gayatri. Then I do certain puja at my home. That is attached to something. Then I do some homa and havana and all that, and that is attached to something. Then I call people for the partaking in lunch and all that religious festivals, and there is something to gain out of it. So, and that creates desire for fruit of action. And such a mind which believes in dharma, artha, kama will never get moksha. Even though the word says that dharma, artha, kama and moksha, but having dharma, artha, kama will not give you moksha. Any questions or concerns on this 34th verse?
So dharma, artha, kama will not give moksha. That is what your sentence, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is next stage. Correct.
Yeah. So now how do we go to next stage? You are already in that stage in the 18th chapter. So it is all about letting go so that you can get liberation from samsara. Realization is that you realize that you are everything. there is nothing more to realize than that you are that one undivided consciousness, even though it looks divided. And hence it is worth to give up everything, every activity. And that is what surrender is all about. You give up everything, whatever you have known so far, just give that up. But the Rajasic fortitude, dhriti, will say that no, you have to keep it. So the person keeps it. And once you keep it, or once I keep it, let's say, karma is already made. Because if you attach, then the karma. If there's no attachment, there's no karma. Even though I've done hundreds of karma in the past, they can only create fruits if the consciousness is attached to it. If there is no consciousness attached to it, karma cannot get the necessary supply. So there is no manure for it to grow. And we come to the tamasic. So the person has lot of planning, lot of dreams, and the person would love to keep on planning for every given thing. And he cannot step out without the schedules. So he would like to know what I want to do in the morning and afternoon and evening and all of that. And he meticulously maintains it, writes a diary of all the events he has been doing in his life, and also keep track, and is very particular about timings. If somebody comes very late, he is upset. If somebody is early, he appreciates, but also he's upset, or she's upset. Then he expects everyone to work like a clock. And he has fear and he has sorrow. The reason why he has the fear and sorrow is that he fears that if I don't sufficiently plan, the work is not going to happen. So that is his problem, or her problem. So he plans enough, or she plans enough on that. It can be official engagements, it can be personal engagement, but that person is very meticulous, very planned, very schedule oriented, very fearful of what is going to happen and what is not going to happen. And he wants whatever that thing to happen should happen, because he has planned it in such a way that it should happen. And if it doesn't happen, there is sorrow, shoka. And when there is shoka, there is vishada. So the despondency is going to take over. Because now he has to find what was the reason for this plan to fail. So this person will always have plan A and plan B and plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F, and accordingly. He just cannot, or she cannot accept to the nature law. That person accepts to his or her own law. So he ensures that he or she wields power on people so that the plan is met. And when it works, that person feels really happy that how meticulously it is working. But the problem with that is it creates a lot of stress, but also creates a lot of pleasure. So when it is working and the plan works, everybody is happy. That person is so happy that you see how I planned and how I executed, it's so nice. And he or she now needs to keep on planning again and again and again, because that's the fear. Without the plan, nothing can succeed. So I need to plan. So it adds stress. So when it adds stress, it creates more insecure feeling. And the person cannot find happiness. But he feels, or she feels, that if I do like this, on one day, I'll definitely get that happiness. So these pleasures of planning and the pleasure what we get through material comfort, both added together, and the comfort what we get through job, plus the family, and the fortitude, the dhriti, saying that this is what I need to do. One cannot abandon it no matter what a person does. And that is tamasic, because the mind which has intellect has become so aggressive, so plan oriented, or so much of resource oriented, that it cannot see anything else. Even though it wants to, sometimes it feels that why am I doing all of this? What's the point? But then the fear takes over, saying that if you don't do it, and then it will be a failure, so better you do it. So the person start doing it. So the thoughts keeps on coming of planning and more planning, and the person keeps on engaging oneself on more and more plans, so that the work what is there to be done can be done. So sometimes these people are treated or thought to be very aggressive, but they're really not. They are trying to execute the plan, and because they want to aggressively execute the plan, so sometimes that becomes a very grave misunderstanding that the person is aggressive, or sometimes the person looks very arrogant also, even though the person is not arrogant. His problem or her problem is the fear of losing ground, the fear of not able to execute as per plan. That's the problem. There's nothing else that person is having, but that is tamasic, because he's not able to see, or she's not able to see, that planning costs happiness to go, and when happiness is not there, there is no peace. So the only way to get rid of this pain pleasure cycle is not to plan for anything in life. And that is difficult, because we've been so used to planning, because that is tamasic. So now how to get into sattva, that we did it in the 14th chapter. So now we have moved out of it, so that we have to go back to 14th chapter to see how do we get into the sattva, rajas, tamas, and what it does and all that. So presently, even in this 18th chapter, we can see that kind of mindset still continues. So what Krishna is trying to say to us is that if you take the fortitude, the dhriti, you will find these three. If you take buddhi, you'll again find these three. And then if you take the karta, you'll again find these three. Then if you take karma, you will find all of these three. And if you take jnana, you'll find all of these three. So what he's saying is that look at the jnana what you are having. If you are thinking you are sattvic, then you should be seeing that all beings are one. No, I have not experienced so far. Then you are in the wrong chapter at present, which is 18th. That means sattvic. So if we take everywhere sattva, now then we take karma. So then there is no action other than obligatory action. Obligation is having born, you have to eat, you have to brush your teeth, you have to take bath, you have to finish your toilet, and that's it. And there is nothing called likes and dislikes. There is nothing called hankering for rewards. So that is sattva. Then if I go to karta, I don't have attachment like in the sangha, so I don't make any friends who talk about worldly affairs. I don't have any egoistic tendencies. Then I have fortitude, that is dhriti, and diligence. I keep on watching my mind, and I am not worried about success and failure in the world, whether the world is succeeding or failing, or I am succeeding and I am failing. This is the state of sattva. Then he says intellect, buddhi. So guna, what guna I am having? Knowing the path of action and renunciation only. That means I need to be in sannyasa. And I should know what should be done and what shouldn't be done. That means anything with relation to sensual, I shouldn't do it. Anything other than sensual, I can do it. And because that I am not in sensual realm of existence, the bhaya is not there, that the fear is not there. Whether I'm going to die or whether I'm going to die with this disease, that disease, and all of that. Then I don't have any bondage because I have clear vision of or clear wisdom of liberation. And that kind of intellect is sattvic. Then we covered the fortitude, that is, I am not allowing the prana to move into the five senses. If I see someone, I am not going to recognize that person as a wife. If I am seeing something, a girl coming, let's say, even though I am married, the girl is coming. In my opinion, there is no girl which is coming. It's just a skeleton which is coming. There's nothing else which is coming. So if I am having such a sight, that I am able to penetrate and see, not just imagine that, okay, that girl who is coming or that man who is coming is just a skeleton. No, I should be able to see that it is indeed a skeleton. Then only it works. So this sattva guna is that you are able to penetrate the body, just like an X-ray. The person who is being put in the X-ray machine, the person is a person, but what comes out as a print is the skeleton. So it goes internal. So what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing an internal structure, not an external appearance. Similarly, if I see home, let's say, I only see the pillars and beams, nothing else. If I see a chair or a table or a computer or whatever, I see the internal of it. What is the internal of it? It is just metal and plastic. So basically in a sattvic mind, my fortitude or dhriti is something which comes to the very basic of it. So there is no comparison, there is nothing to do anything at all. And that is when yoga works, because samatva will start. So there is nothing that I like something there or I dislike something there. So I don't have na dveshti na akankshati. And shubha ashubha parityagi. So there is nothing to really feel anything about it, that it is good thing or a bad thing. And my eyes, ears, nose, tongue, taste and touch and all of that is unswavering. Meaning those objects exist, but my eyes, ears, nose, tongue, that is not going forward to enjoy or suffer with that. And that unswavering mind, unprostituting mind is sattvic. So basically I need to create all of these 5 things to get into the 6th one, the 36th verse, sukha. Now this is when you start reaching the peak of peace, shanti. So now he says that sukha also has these 3. Okay. So let's go with sattvic joy, 37th verse. That which is poison in the beginning, yat tat agre visham iva. Now, cutting out all the senses, cutting out the relationship, cutting out this, cutting out that, oh my goodness, this is so painful. It's a visha, because we are so happy to enjoy the pleasures the relationships, whatever we have been making, job, family, home, and all that, now suddenly we have to cut it. So just like a diabetic person who is on insulin loves to eat mangoes and jackfruit and so many other things, and then the doctor says, look, if you want to live tomorrow, you cannot eat mango, you cannot eat jackfruit, you cannot eat many things, including sugar. And you cannot drink coffee, you cannot drink tea, you cannot eat rice, you cannot eat this. So that not doing something is so more than doing. Or if a person who has had bypass surgery and the doctor says that what he should eat and what he should not eat and how he should be and how he should not be. So we have to consider ourselves as a highly diabetic and highly heart patient and cut out all of this. So that means this is the poison. Cutting out is the poison. But the pariname amrita upamam. This is fun. If we were to cut it, after some time, you will only feel amrita, the nectar, in the end. That sukha, satvikam proktam. So I say this is satvik. That means cutting the senses from the sense object, cutting the mind from moving into the sense object is sukha. This is the peace, what we are looking at. If at all, like on that day, Padma Shri was saying that she wants peace. So if really she wants peace, she has to cut the senses from the sense objects right now. That means all relationships with food, with lodging, with family, with job, with whatever, all of that is gone. There's nothing else there. So all the five senses are restrained. So if she sees the husband, there is no husband. If she sees the son, there is no son. If she sees the daughter-in-law, there is no daughter-in-law. That doesn't mean that she's not going to interact with them. She's going to interact as she would interact with any other third-party person. So that relationship itself is not there. And if there's job, there's just a job. That's all. Nothing else. Nothing else exists. And that kind of sukha is real sattvic. Now come to the rajasic kind in 38. Now Vishaya Indriya Samyogat. This is where we are. We are having Vishaya, that is the sense object. Wife comes in, immediately there is a recognition that this is my wife. And somebody else comes in and that shows me that, oh, that person is so and so. So this is Vishaya, which is first like nectar, because wife is a nectar, husband is a nectar, mother is a nectar, father is a nectar, all of these relationships, including Veda, is a nectar, and Bhagvadgita itself is a nectar. Like that, we have all nectars. Pariname Visham Eva, but it's Visha. It's a sweet coated poison. When we taste it, it looks sweet, but it is poison. Now the question comes, how it is poison? Very simple. If I lose the job, it's poison. If I don't get the marks, what I expected it to be, becomes poison. If I don't get the wife or the husband, it's poison. If the husband dies, poison. If the wife dies, poison. If I lose my home, poison. If I lose the bank balance, poison. It is poison only. So that is Rajasic. Now we come to the Tamasic. So yatagre cha anubandhe cha. At first, it creates the sensual, lustful, hateful kind of attitude, because that object itself makes me happy and that object itself make me unhappy. Just a normal way of living of ours. So when, let us say, the child is not studying, I want that person to study, do this, do that. And when the child is studying, I would like to inform everyone that, look, how did I bring up my child? See how I have developed him. So that is the tamasic kind. So sukham mahantam, moham atmanaha. So this delusion has caught up into the self, that I did it. You see how I have brought it, how I have worked, how I diligently prepared the food, how I can do this, how I can do that. And indolence and sleep and heedlessness is the main thing in the tamasic mind. The sukha, what you're getting, what I'm getting out of it is something to do with which makes me sleep, because I cannot sleep unless I achieve something. So the moment I achieve something, I sleep, because that's what so let's say the whole day I am preparing something, and once I prepare it, I feel so satisfied that I go to sleep, and that is tamasic. Then indolence, alasya. So I become lazy. That I have already achieved. So what's the point? So now I become lazy. And the last one, pramada. That is heedlessness. So I don't have any energy to do something except for being in a great illusion. So the more I am in illusion, the better it looks. And that's the reason ignorance is bliss. And in ignorance, it is really blissful. And that is what tamasic is all about. So these are the three types of sukha. And depending upon the jnana, the karma, the karta, all that what we covered, all these five together gives you the sukha of that kind, of the sattvic kind. If we are in sattvic, if we are in rajasic, the rajasic kind, and the tamasic is the tamasic kind. So now we come to the four castes and their duties, starting with 40. So what he says is that none of the beings can escape the gunas. So, na tat asti pritivyam va divi deveshu va punaha. That is, even if the being were to be born as Deva, or even if they are born as Brahma, they cannot escape this nature. Sattvam prakritihi muktam. Yah yat ebhi syat tribihi gunaha. So there is nobody who can escape the three gunas. Sattva, he will be in sattvas, and hence he is in Brahma realm of existence or a Deva realm of existence. Mishra of Rajas and Sattva will make him a Deva. Mishra of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas makes him a human. Mishra of Rajas and Tamas makes him an animal. And a complete Tamas will make him a demon, can be a preta, can be into the Naraka forever. So nobody can escape this. Now he talks about the four field divisions the fourfold divisions which happens. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyam, Shudram cha Parantapa. That means he says that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Vaishyas and Shudras, they distribute the duties according to the qualities born of their own nature. Now there is a problem in our caste system. It is by birth. But what Krishna is saying is that they bring their own qualities. So it's not that a person can be born as a Brahmin or as a Kshatriya or as a Shudra or as a Vaishya. It is by their own way of looking at life. So today, if I call myself as a Brahmin, born in a Brahmin community, then I am doing what is called a tamasic way of living. That is, the karma is tamasic, the karta is tamasic, and because my karma and karta is tamasic, the buddhi is tamasic, and because my buddhi is tamasic, the dhriti is also tamasic, and because my dhriti is tamasic, the sukha is tamasic, and because my sukha is tamasic, I am ready to enter into hell realm of existence. Simple. So if I have this intention to think that I am born in a Brahmin family without knowing what a Brahmin is supposed to be doing, and I claim to be a Brahmin when I am not, just like a Kshatriya can claim himself to be a Kshatriya even though he is not, and a Vaishya can claim himself to be a Vaishya even though he is not, like that. So that person, from the beginning, that is the Jnana to the Sukha, is tamasic. How do we come to know? Very simple. He gets attached to scriptures. That's all he will be doing in his life. And suffers because now he cannot stand any other kind of community to exist. So most of the religions are of that kind, which are tamasic, because they teach how a person can be more and more attached to their scriptures or to their whatever they are learning, and they say that this is how it is. So what Krishna says is that in 42nd verse, who is a Brahmin? So we have to start looking at Shama. If Shama is not there, that is a person who is able to stop the senses moving into sense object, he is not a Brahmin. Simple. Dhamma, restraining the pranas from moving into the sense object. That is, the first one is where the senses don't move. The second one is the prana itself doesn't move. Otherwise, he is not a Brahmin. He is pretending to be one, which is not. Third one, tapaha. That person should be in austerity all the time. Other than austerity, the person cannot be engaging. Let us say I am engaging in earning money. I am Vaishya, basically. That's my guna. Or if I am working for a company, then I am a Shudra. I cannot claim to be a Brahmana. If I claim myself to be a Brahmana, then I am taking karma. And that karma will take me to hell. Because it is tamasic. It is not even rajasic. It is tamasic. Then shaucham. Shaucha of the mind, shaucha of the speech, shaucha of the body, kaya. Then kshantihi is patience, arjavam, uprightness, jnanam, knowledge, vijnanam. He is already realized. He is a sage. Astikyam. He himself believes in the God, not the God of temples, but the God within him. Brahma karma swabhavajam. This is most important. His complete being is full of Brahman nature. So there is no difference between him and Brahman. There is no Dvaita. It is Advaita. And that person who possesses this is called Brahmin. Otherwise not. So if I were to claim that I am born into the family of Brahmana, then as per this 42nd verse, it is not. If I claim that I am from so and so Gotra, like if I am from Bharadwaja Gotra or Jamadagni Gotra or some Gotra, again it is wrong. If I am talking about Pravara, that I am so and so Sharmana with so and so thing and so that thing, is again wrong. Because that's not what I am doing in my life, except for uttering all of this. So if I am wearing the Upanayana thread, and if I am wearing the wife 3 threads also, that means if I have 6, I am not a Brahmana. Simple. I cannot take somebody's karma on my shoulder. So presently what has happened is that they have put 3 plus 3, which is wrong. So again, I am not a Brahmana. So basically what I have done is that I have committed so much of sins in life, if I go by this, that forget liberation, even realization is out of question. So I need to really undo whatever has been done so far, and then only things can really work. Then we come to the Kshatriya. So Shauryam, that is showing a lot of power or Paurusha. Tejaha, splendor. Dhritihi, firmness. Dakshyam, dexterity. Yuddhecha api, apalayanam, that is not fleeing away from the battle, facing whatever comes. Dhanam, Ishvara, Bhavanacha, generosity and lordness. Because this generosity and the Ishvara way of looking at things will get him more and more power. In the case of Brahmana, he doesn't require the power because he is ending the journey. In the case of Kshatriya, he is not ending his journey, he is extending his journey. So he requires all of these to be done. And because of that, Kshatram Karma Swabhavin. So he is going to take this Kshatra. Kshatra means weapons. So we have many weapons, not the destructive kind also, but even the constructive kind are also weapons. All those weapons come under the Kshatriya. Okay. Then we get into the 44th one, the Vaishya and Shudras. Here he talks about agriculture, cattle rearing and trade are the Vaishya duties, and service to others, just like going to the company and working and getting paid for that, is the nature of the Shudra. So basically, if we were to look at today, if I start my own venture company, I am a Vaishya. If I quit the job and in search of reality, I am a Brahmana. If I am engaged in a very fierce way of doing things with a lot of power, glory and fury and all that, I am a Kshatriya. But I am going to a company every day and working and doing something for the organization success, I am a Shudra. So now, having known what is these 4 classes, Now we have to look at the devotion towards the duty, which Padma Shri keeps on talking about devotion. Only in this chapter you will find the devotion, having seen what the roles are. So we have 4 roles. Brahmana has one role, Kshatriya has another role, Shudra, Vaishya has another role, and Shudra has another role. So the person gets automatically devoted to his or her own duty. So if a Brahmana is there, let's say, he is interested in searching what is real and what is unreal. So he is really engrossed in that duty. Nobody has to tell him. Just like when we go to an organization, nobody needs to tell us, because we are providing service to the organization. So we are Shudra. So you don't have to, people don't have to come and tell us what we should do, because there is a job description, there is the thing, what is, what I can say, what are the expectations, and what is the designation, and what are the customers I'm going to work with, and how I'm going to work with. All of that is part of the job, what I need to do as a Shudra. And I cannot start my own organization because I don't have that power, nor I know how to do it. I don't know how to create the wealth. So I better develop wealth for others, which is service, which is Shudra. So I naturally flow like that. There's nothing like forcefully I'm going to flow. So engaged in his duty, he attains perfection. Meaning, if I'm doing my activity, in whatever activity I'm doing, if I'm a Shudra doing company job, where I'm getting daily payment, or I'm getting weekly payment, or a monthly payment, and if I do good, I get a recognition. If I do bad, then I don't get that recognition. Maybe I'll be sent out of the organization. I need to search somewhere for my ability. If I perfect that, then I will get liberated even with that, because I'm going to attain that perfection. So he says that I will tell you how this highest perfection can be gained in these 4 classes. Now he says that he from whom all living beings come into being, and by whom all this is pervaded. Meaning, the duty what I am doing as a Brahmana, that is for knowing what is reality. So I give it to that. That whole search is for that. As a Kshatriya, I am supposed to be taking care of the country. Meaning, if I call myself as a patriot, if I have love for Bharat or India or whatever it is, and I feel that every ounce of blood is saying that you are Bharat and you are India, and you should have that valor, you should have that pride of being an Indian, then that person is Kshatriya. So if he performs whatever he is doing and gives it to the God, because the God is the one who has created this, so he donates it back to the God. And the Vaishyas who are doing business, can be in any business, and the Shudras who are serving for the organization and consider the organization itself as a God, then there is a lot of transformation in that person. So what he says is very interesting in 47 verse. I am a Shudra going to the organization, now I want to become Brahmana. He says that don't do that. You can never do it, because it's your nature will never allow you to do it. So you better do what you are doing, that is serving the organization, consider it as God. Simple. If you are creating business, consider the people whom are getting associated with you as God. If you are a person who is doing a lot of things for the country as a patriot, then you better only do that. You consider the country itself as God and just do that. And if you're Brahmana, just continue your search. But if a Shudra wants to search for God, that's not possible. Meaning, that's not possible in the sense, not like a Brahmana. He will still search the God. That's for sure. So he doesn't have to become a Brahmana to search the God. He can search just like Kanakadasa was able to do it. He didn't have to become a Brahmana to search. Very simple. He was treated as untouchable initially, but he was able to find Krishna, and then he joined and they allowed him and all of that. So Kanakadasa need not have to change anything because he was able to do it in his own nature. His nature was to serve others. But when we bring Brahmin or Brahmana as a birth, then the equation changes because we are not Brahmana from whatever we are doing. So there is a lot of differences then in the way we are doing things and the way it should be. So that creates more and more bondage, which is tamasic. Which is more rajasic and moves towards the tamasic. And once tamasic sets in completely, which makes it delusional, then I will enter into the hell realm of existence or animal realm of existence, because that is where this suits most. So what he says is that better is one's own duty, even though there are some mistakes you are doing. Meaning, I as a Shudra doing a lot of mistakes in my work, wherein sometimes I don't offer it to the God. I forget that organization itself is God, and I blame the organization for my pain. Meaning, I blame that they have not given me increment this time, they should have given it, or whatever it is. Then I am doing blunder. So I shouldn't do it. But because of that, I cannot quit job and become a Brahmin, because that's not my nature. And my wife might not allow that to happen. If I were to quit job and want to do a sannyasi kind of a role, the family might not allow. So it is paradharma is not good. So one's own duty ordained by one's own nature is not sinful. But moving into somebody else's nature is a sinful activity. That is, if there is a high value for Brahman, for a Brahmin, everybody wants to become Brahmin because there is a high value, high stake. And that is wrong, because that becomes sinful. The Brahmana itself is, first of all, sinful. To call himself as a Brahmin without being a Brahmin is sinful, because he needs to have the perfection of his duty, which is 9 qualities: Shama, Dama, Tapa, Shaucham, Kshantihi, Arjavam, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam. This is required. If even one is not there, then it's not going to work for him. He is going to incur sin. So what Krishna says in this verse 47 is that you do your own duty. If you are working for somebody, treat that as God. If you are having your own business, treat that as God. If you are serving the country as a defense person or as some person who is very much patriotic and loves the country more than anything else, then you treat the country as God. And if you are a Brahmana with these 9 qualities, then you submit yourself to God. Then there is no sin. So we should not shift from this to that. I think it is 9:29 already. So let me end and we'll take it 48th verse from tomorrow.
Okay.
Any questions, any concerns, or any comments?
So even after being self-realized, all this rajasic and samasic tendencies still remain.
Yes. So that is the reason liberation is more difficult than realization. You can get
Yeah,
realized.
that's what I was thinking. When you get self-realized, then it will be in sattvic. But that's not the case.
Yes, you need to drop that.
Yeah, so I think this is the last step. It's transcending these gunas.
Yes, you have to transcend the gunas and then you're done. So you're not going to come back.
No. So, and if you connect, it is that this Karana Sharira, the causal body, which has to be eliminated.
Yes, you need to, the Karana Sharira will automatically drop off. If the Karana Sharira goes away, then the Manasika Sharira cannot sustain.
Correct.
So the Manas also drops off.
Correct.
So when anyway gross body is gone, the Manasika Sharira is gone, the Karana Sharira is gone, so then there is nothing existence to exist. So
Yeah, correct.
first and foremost, realization is difficult.
Right.
And after you think you have realized, you look at liberation, how difficult it is.
Yeah, that is where I think the real difficulty starts.
Yes, not in realization. You might get self-realized. Oh, I have got realized. Okay, great. What next? Drop everything now. See, the fun part. I think I am a Brahmin. That itself is wrong. It's going to take me to a sinful existence. How difficult it to stop it. And in this discussion, there are three Brahmins sitting here. One is Bhatt and one is Padmashri and one is myself by birth. We have been told you are a Brahmin. Now here he says you should have these 9 qualities to call yourself Brahmin. So
It's a Brahmin is Janma Brahmana, Karma Brahmana, and by Janma, Karma, and by your that behavior.
yes,
That Guna Brahmana. So
Yes.
Guna Brahmana is a real Brahmana.
Correct.
Janma Brahmana, there is no meaning in that. It's just Janma.
yes, but today,
Because that you cannot avoid, right? By Janma, whatever has come, somebody has labeled it. It's not you who labeled it. Somebody.
correct. So
And there is also no meaning in that.
no, there is no meaning, but I should not even consider without developing those 9 qualities.
And now today in the country is broken just because of that. Try to use all these kind of things only in the film, everywhere. Just want to break. It's better not to talk that part.
Yes,
Janma related one, including in our application. You
right,
should say you're a human being. That's it.
correct.
And unfortunately, we all talk about the same thing in all discourses. That is not good. That is, it is as per Guna. It is not Sattvic. It's not Rajasic. It's a Tamasic. We are unnecessarily bringing that point in again and again in somebody's mind.
Yes, very true.
It's the same thing is applicable in all those things about Indian values. When you talk about Indian values, we should be very, very careful because there are systematically people are breaking it from external people, so-called leftist. We should not repeat the same thing.
That's correct. See, because there is so much of ignorance that happens. So the thing is that first and foremost, like you said, the birth doesn't make anyone anything. If that is accepted, then this problem is gone once and for all. Anyway, that cannot happen at least as long as India goes. So there is a lot of problems. On one side is one problem, and another side is another problem. But this is what it is in terms of the 18th chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. And the 48th verse talks about all have flaw. He himself says that.
Which one?
48, the next verse.
Okay.
He says that all the duty has faults. Sadosham api na tyajet.
Yeah. Even if you have dosha, don't leave it.
Yeah. All have fault, but you should not leave whatever that guna you have. The guna
Correct.
type. By your guna, you are a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Shudra or a Vaishya, whatever it is, you have to do that. and leave it completely. All right.
Good. Yeah, sure.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.